We're at the Sony booth, Mark, checking out the A7S. Now we got a chance to see this a little bit at NAB. A lot of people have been interested in this camera. It's kind of changing the way that people are thinking about small mirrorless cameras and what they can be used for. Pricing is now announced, so why don't you tell us about the different price points for the camera package?
So we're going to sell it as a body, and it's going to be $24.99. And it's going to be coming to market in the beginning of July, first couple of days of July.
All right, and then of course you also have the XLR adapter here. What's the price on that?
Sure, this is a part that we have in our Alpha lineup. So this is $7.99. It's an external XLR kit that you can plug into the shoe of the camera and take balanced audio all the way in. And it comes with a high quality shotgun microphone.
Okay, so then it has two XLR inputs. It's self-powered through the system, so everything just runs directly off.
Yeah, it offers 48 phantom power for external microphones if you need it, and it also has a record preamp with controls.
Right, but the camera does also have an 1/8" input for other mics.
You can take a 3.5 millimeter stereo microphone jack here, and use a XLR breakout box if you want. The advantage of using the shoe for the input is we have actually enough terminals here to support balanced audio input, whereas here, like what a traditional SLR would use, this is unbalanced input.
Okay, so maybe like a Rode video mic, just
sure.
Have it on top.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of people that I've been talking to, myself included, that are thinking about jumping ship, getting the A7S. There's just so many features to this camera. Maybe a little confusing for some people. So first of all, it's a full frame sensor, but it also works in APS-C crop mode, full functionality in that. Tell us what that can do. Are there any limitations in either mode?
Yeah, one of the great parts about the Alpha 7 series is it's a very compact camera, but yet it has a full frame image sensor. In fact, it's the very smallest and lightest interchangeable lens digital camera that uses a full frame image sensor. So we leverage the full frame sensor together with a 12 megapixel resolution to be able to capture not only spectacular low light, low noise photography and videography, but also tremendous dynamic range. The camera can shoot as much as 409,000 ISO, and it's been rated at 15.3 stops of dynamic range, which is really pretty exceptional. So if you're shooting in challenging light or you don't have really control of your shooting environment, you can take some really spectacular video and stills. We also are able to capture 4K on a full frame image sensor, and pretty much every camera today that can shoot 4K is doing it on a smaller sensor. There's really only 2 cameras available today that can shoot 4K on a full frame. So this is a tremendous advantage. And we also use the full width of the full frame to capture 4K, and in 16:9 aspect ratio, we capture every pixel. There's no line skipping, no pixel binning, so it really captures spectacular 4K.
So full frame, awesome picture quality of that. Now for me, as an FS700 shooter, I've started to acquire a lot of E-mount lenses, but most of them are only covering the APS-C sensor size. This has a crop mode that'll be fully functional with those lenses.
Yeah, you can use a full frame lens and cover the full frame image sensor, or you can also use a APS-C E-mount lens and cover 2/3 of the image sensor. You can shoot in 2K or 4K in a crop mode, or you can shoot 2K or 4K across the full frame sensor. You have your choice.
All right, so now you said that the full 4K for the full frame is going to be covering all the pixels. In that APS-C crop mode, there's going to be less pixels, so
correct.
Is it going to be up-resing?
So we'll have to up-res to capture 4K with an APS-C crop. But you do have the option if you want to do that.
Very good. And even if you have a full frame lens, you can still switch to the APS-C crop if you want to be able to cut in a little bit more.
Yeah, if you wanted to cut in and get a focal length multiplier, you could do that as well, yes.
Right. Most popular option out there being the Metabones adapters. Now these will work in full frame mode for full frame glass as well, right?
Yeah, we have on this camera is a EF 24-70 f2.8 lens, a full frame lens. And we have a Metabones adapter, and this adapter has intelligence built into it. So there's a microcomputer that's translating control impulses from the camera to the lens. So the camera can exert iris control over the lens. You can actually set aperture on the camera, and it'll control the iris of the lens. It also has control of autofocus. So the autofocus motor in the lens is linked to the autofocus control in the camera. so you have full control. This is not an image stabilized lens, but with a Canon EF lens with image stabilization, the camera will be able to power the image stabilization system as well.
Well, will the autofocus perform at normal speeds, or is it going to be a little bit slower by using the meta lens?
Well, it depends upon the lens. SLR lenses are designed around the idea of phase detection autofocus. So their autofocus lens group is usually pretty large, pretty heavy. It's not designed for contrast AF. So focus acquisition times with an adapter like this and a camera like this are not going to be as quick as an SLR. Typically something like about a second for AF acquisition time. It depends upon the distance to the subject, but it's going to be a little bit slower because a camera like this isn't going to operate the lens in the same way. Now, however, if you take a lens that's designed for contrast AF, like say a Canon STM lens, those are designed to operate with this type of a focusing system, so they'll be quicker. It's really dependent upon the lens construction more than anything else.
Now, there's a lot of codec options in this camera as well for video shooters. That's one of the things that's intrigued me the most about it, is it's, as much as it's a great stills camera, you guys have crammed a ton of different features for video shooters. AVC HD, MPEG, even XAVC.
Yes.
So, to me, this seems like a great B camera for, say, FS700 shooters, even having S-Log2 built in there, and all those different features. 4K though, 4K output is via HDMI. There's not a lot of recorder options out there that do that. What can you tell us about what should people be looking for if they want to shoot 4K with this camera? As
a full HD camera, it is, as you mentioned, very flexible because most still cameras have very limited codec options for 4K internal recording. This camera gives you the option of MP4, AVC HD, as well as XAVCS. So a very high bitrate full HD recording mode. So it's got great capabilities in full HD. It can record at 24p, 25p, 30p, and 60p, and it can record at 120 frames per second in 1280 by 720. But when it comes to 4K, it's 4K HDMI output at 24p, 25p, or 30p. It's QFHD, it's 3840 by 2160. But we made the 4K recording external on purpose because we wanted to maintain the size of the camera. If the camera was recording internally and it had 4K and it had a full frame image sensor, it would be double the size of this. So we didn't want to lose the compactness of the camera. Additionally, with external recorders, you've got the option of enjoying codecs that we would not normally build into the camera. So right now, in terms of options, right now the Blackmagic HyperDeck Studio Pro can take HDMI 30p out of this camera and record it directly in Apple ProRes HQ 422. So that's an option. We have one right here set up. We're showing with it. Adamus is announced that they're developing a 4K external recorder solution. The Odyssey 7Q from Convergent Design, they're also developing for this camera to be able to accept 4K HDMI input. And you can use an Asia Key Pro Quad with mini converters to accept 4K HDMI input as well. So there are external 4K solutions already available, and we expect that more and more will become available.
All right. So that output for 4K, that's an 8-bit, is that 422, 420?
The output for HDMI is 422 8-bit 4K.
And then for the internal recording of the HD, for the XAVC, what's the bit depth and color spacing for that?
Internal recording for full HD is 420 8-bit.
Now there's a lot of E-mount lenses out there for APS-C. I know that you guys are starting to come out with some full-frame lenses as well. What can you tell us about that lineup?
Yeah, we have about 20 lenses in E-mount today. 5 of them are available in full frame, and another 15 in APS-C. You can use APS-C lenses on the camera. But if you want to cover the full frame, you need the full frame lenses. We have a 35mm f2.8 Zeiss, a 55mm f1.8 Zeiss. We have a 24-70 f4 Zeiss, and we have a 28-70, and we're just now shipping our new 70-200 f4 constant aperture G lens. So those lenses, and then we showed a prototype of a 28-135 f4 constant aperture Cine style lens at NAB. That'll be coming soon.
There'll be full frame?
Yeah, it's full frame. This will be part of the full frame series. And then there are plenty of other lenses. For example, here's a Zeiss CP2 Prime. And Zeiss actually has been making full frame E-mount lenses for some time now. And this is a 25 f2.9. But they offer a full series of CP primes in full frame E-mount, and they also offer 3 zooms in the series in full frame E-mount.
Now, the Canon lens you're showing here, the 24-70, that's a 2.8. Yours is an f4. Can you tell us the decision behind that?
Yeah, we also make a 24-70 f2.8 constant aperture in our A-mount series. And when it comes to making lenses for this series, we decided to make the lens size appropriate to the camera size. And as a result, we're making the 24-70 as an f4 constant aperture instead of an f2.8. It's easy to make an f2.8, it's easy to do, but it's going to be a significantly larger lens, and the appropriateness of the size and the balance to the very compact Alpha 7 camera probably wouldn't be a great match. But of course, if you need lens speed, you can always use our Zeiss 24-70 f2.8 on an E-mount camera with the appropriate A-mount adapter.
Well, thanks for giving us the rundown of the new A7S, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony.
Special thanks to our sponsors for making our coverage possible.